So imagine this scenario. You just graduated, whether that's from high school or college, or maybe you even got an internship or a co-op, and you're moving out to live on your own for the first time. You're super excited, you're pumped, you go and pack up all your boxes, the day gets closer and closer, you move out, and you move into your new apartment, you get the keys, and you're standing there in the middle of your apartment only to realize, I don't know what to do. This was me just a few years ago when I got my first internship experience. I moved out to a place I had never been before, away from my friends and family, and I very quickly realized that I had no idea what I was doing. In today's topic, I'm going to be talking about 7 essential skills for young men to know in order to succeed at life. My name's Tyler Warlow, I go by the Mengineer, and I'm here to help you engineer your life. Let's jump into the video. So today I have 7 skills that would have been immensely helpful to me had I had known them or practiced them prior to going on my first internship and living on my own in the real world. I'm going to start this video by saying this is just coming from my personal experience. I'm of course not an expert, so take these as you will. You can pick and choose what you think might work for you, but this is from my own life experience, so please don't take my word as an expert. Jumping into these things, I have these 7 skills, but I've kind of classified them into 2 categories. The first category are going to be practical life skills, so skills that are going to save you time and money by knowing them. The second set of skills is going to be personal improvement related. So let's jump into the first category, the category of practical life skills. One of the most important skills that I feel like a young man should learn is how to cook for himself. To give you a little bit of background, my mother tried to teach me how to cook when I was in high school, and I was having none of it. She tried to have it so me and my siblings each cooked a meal during the week where we had to cook a meal for the family. And at the time, I just said that I was too busy with schoolwork, I couldn't handle it, and I would get very stressed out by it, so I never really took the time to really learn how to cook. Lo and behold, I get to my first internship where I'm living in my first apartment all by myself, and I have to learn pretty quick what to do in order to keep myself fed, because you'll discover pretty quickly that fast food is no longer cheap and convenient. It is just convenient. It will very quickly drain your bank account. I feel like cooking is incredibly important to learn because it can save you time. If you learn how to meal prep, you can make bulk meals on Sunday or midweek that can last you through the rest of the week, and you don't have to worry about cooking every single night. It can save you money immensely. So just going and getting a meal from fast food restaurant will cost you $8 to $10 on its own. And then if you're going out to a nicer sit-down restaurant, you're probably looking at something in the 15 to 20 range. And that's gonna add up very quickly. It will very quickly drain your bank account. So learning how to cook will help you in terms of your time and your money. I recommend having a basic understanding of the things that work well and taste good together for you, as well as developing a kind of set of go-to meals that are quick and healthy for you. There's all sorts of YouTube channels on YouTube that can help you to learn new things, as well as cookbooks out there for young people just starting off. There really is a vast variety of resources available, and that's what I did when I was first learning how to cook. Was I just looked up things on YouTube for healthy meal prep. I highly recommend learning how to cook. It's just going to save you time and money, and not only that, whenever it comes time for you to find a partner, they're going to be highly impressed with the fact that you can cook. It is one of the most sought after skills in the world. So that's the first one that I wanted to talk about. The next one that I want to talk about, of course, is just some basic home maintenance. You need to know how to take care of your home. If you're not doing regular maintenance, things get cluttered, things break, and your home just becomes messy. And when your home is messy, it can create a vicious cycle of stress and anxiety, or it can just compound about itself of, oh, this is too much, I'm not gonna do it right now. So then it just continues to build on itself and you never get around to actually taking care of those things that you need to. So what do I mean by basic home maintenance? I mean taking care of your laundry, fixing things around the house that need to be fixed, whether that's burnt out light bulbs, your leaky faucet, your broken toilet. All those things are fairly simple fixes that you can learn to look up on YouTube and take care of fairly easily. And then take taking care of your car. In America, our car is one of the most important things for our transportation and getting to our work. So making sure that you're on top of that maintenance and taking care of it is vitally important to making sure that you can get about in your daily life. By having a basic understanding of how to do these general home maintenance, you're not only going to keep your home looking clean, it's going to help you reduce your stress and anxiety and allow you to focus on the other things that you want to. A clutter-free environment helps lead to a clutter-free mind. So, highly recommend learning how to do just basic home maintenance. I especially recommend this if you're living with roommates. When I first went on my internship, my landlord was actually my roommate, and I was not the cleanest when I first started. And she made it abundantly clear that I needed to keep the living space clean. And so I learned very quickly that others do not appreciate when you don't keep your living space clean. Learn to do basic home maintenance, respect others' space, and it will just help you immensely in the rest of your life. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about in the practical category is going to be financial literacy. As I've said in an earlier video, when I first went on my internship, really my only concept was save your money, because you might need it at some point if a doctor's appointment comes up or if your car breaks. I really recommend taking some time, learning the basics of budgeting, learning the basics of what your money can do if you invest it, learning where your money is going to. A lot of people, when they first start budgeting, will be surprised to figure out how much they're spending in certain areas. Like I said earlier in the video, I learned very quickly that fast food is not as cheap as they make it out to be. I was spending a lot of money on fast food when I first moved out. So, highly recommend learning some basics in terms of your financial literacy. I think you might be surprised by some of the things you learn, as well as that will just help you set yourself up for future success further down the road. The earlier you start learning and understanding what's going on with your money, the further along you'll be able to go later on in life. So let's jump into the second category, which is personal improvement. One of the most important things to look at in terms of your personal improvement is developing emotional intelligence. Unfortunately, a lot of young men lack this. They don't have a lot of empathy for other people. We're very self-driven as men. This isn't something that you're going to be able to change overnight. It is something that you develop over time, but you can develop it by practicing a couple things, such as self-reflection, having open communication with your friends and family, and having an openness to learning from others. Doing this is going to make you more aware of not just your own mental state, but the mental state of others, and help you to empathize and understand where they're coming from. A lot of people really don't understand why someone might be stressed out, why they might be upset about something, and that can cause more headbutting, especially if there's ineffective communication happening there. So it's really good to take some time to develop that skill, so that way you can understand where they're coming from. You don't necessarily have to agree with it, but that way you understand and you can have communication about it. So one thing to keep in mind with this is, if through this self-development process you start to notice that you may be struggling with some anxiety or depression, I highly recommend seeking the help of a professional. Professional therapists are trained to help you identify the things that may be personally triggering you, as well as helping you develop coping mechanisms to effectively handle and mitigate the symptoms of depression and anxiety. So if you discover that that is something you're struggling with, seek professional help. The second thing that I want to talk about is developing mental resiliency. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean putting yourself in purposefully challenging and difficult situations and opening yourself for failure. So that way, when you do fail, you develop a sort of mental resiliency and toughness to those. You're not as afraid of going in and encountering those failures. Real life is hard, guys, and it can be difficult and it's very stressful. A lot of people have this feeling of, oh, once I finish school, I'll be coasting. Oh, once I finish XYZ, I'll be good to go. I'll be living this stress-free life. That's not how the real world works. The real world throws things at you all the time, whether that's family members that have to go to the hospital, whether that's your boss is egging you on for something that wasn't really your fault. You need to develop a sort of mental resiliency so you can take those things, handle them, and process them effectively without breaking down. It's okay to have emotions regarding something, but you need to be able to effectively handle and process those emotions and then move forward with your life rather than letting that stop you from doing the things that you need to do. What I do want to say about this concept of mental resiliency, because a lot of other channels talk about this is not an excuse to not process your emotions and take those emotions out on other people. A lot of people have this concept of emotional resiliency is you don't let those emotions come in. You are in control of your emotions. You do not do anything with them and you push them down. That is not mental resiliency, because then what inevitably ends up happening is those emotions are suppressed until they build up, and then you start taking them out on other people, and it still has a negative impact on their life as well as your life. True mental resiliency is being able to effectively handle and process your emotions and then move forward. The next thing I want to talk about is time management. It is incredibly important to learn how to manage your time. A lot of guys don't realize how important it is, but especially in college and depending on the job, it can be incredibly important and helpful to making sure that you get the things that you need done. There are, of course, many different methods such as time blocking or task batching. I highly recommend going on YouTube and searching more for those types of things. I, of course, can make a video about those. If you're interested, please leave a comment down below. As life progresses, things tend to get busier and busier. You'll find that your life is going to be kind of a constant whirlwind of things that you want to do or need to do. And it's going to be important for you to effectively manage and prioritize the things that are truly important to you, because that way, that's going to be how you help maintain your mental and emotional health, as well as be able to effectively get yourself rest to then tackle the other things that you do need to do in your life. If things are important, you don't want to let them slide, and you can do that with effective time management. If you just approach things very much on a day-to-day basis, then a lot of times those things that are important can kind of go off to the wayside and you'll lose things. So, highly recommend learning effective methods for time management. It can make all the difference in the world. And finally, develop effective communication. This goes for both verbal and written communication. This will be useful not only in your personal life for talking to your friends, your family. It will also be useful in terms of college or your professional life for helping communicate things such as results to your bosses or your professors, or being able to communicate ideas. By learning to effectively communicate, you're going to be able to have a much easier time conveying that information to your peers. Having effective communication also helps you to have better discussion and discourse. So let's say that you are in a disagreement with someone, it can help you to more effectively talk with them rather than it turning into a full-blown fight or argument. You'll find that will be incredibly helpful in terms of the relationships in your life, because fights can turn really toxic where people are calling people names and tearing one another down. So it's really important to learn how to effectively communicate so you can express the things that you're feeling. I highly recommend learning how to do that. All right, everyone, and those were the 7 essential skills that I think every young man should follow. Just to summarize again, these were separated into 2 categories. On the practical side, I had learning cooking, home maintenance, and financial literacy. And then on the personal improvement side of things, I had learning emotional intelligence, mental resiliency, time management, and communication. I feel like all 7 of these things are incredibly essential for young men to learn. It will help you make incredible leaps and bounds in the rest of your life the earlier that you start. But that is going to bring us to the end of today's video. If you have any suggestions or ideas about other tips that young men should learn, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your ideas and have a discussion about them. If you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. But with that, this is the Mengineer, signing off.